There's the script. We promise you 4 minutes of that, and that's if you ever come back. 24 minutes from now, it'll be 9 o'clock with NBC News updating. We're 25, and Mike Barrett with good policies for this. Your Tuesday, the 12th of January. Hey, Mike, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How we doing?
Doing all right. A little dusting of snow out there. How's you guys doing out in Waterford? Did you guys get a couple of inches too, or?
No, just a very light coating for us too. So kind of a bummer, you know. I'm of the mindset now. You know, the older I get, the more I dislike winter. But I'm also still of the adage of, you know, if it's going to be cold, give me the snow.
Well, feel ye not alone, okay? Because I'm not enjoying it. Remember the days we used to go out skiing at the outing club, and we'd be out there at 20 below zero, 10 below zero?
Didn't have a care in the world. Loved it.
Nope, that's right. We had our feet in bread loaves of bread bags inside of our feet to keep them warm and dry.
The good old days.
Yeah. All right. So good policies. We had a great chat last week. We have a great chat every week here. Life has changed for everybody over the past 11 months, 10 months, right? Incredibly. And we're talking about life in general. We're talking about business. We're talking about school. We're talking about all kinds of things. And in the world of insurance, are there things that when things in your life change need to be addressed, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out to a lot of our clients as we started the new year here, just doing a quick touch of base and say, look, you know, I hope you had a great new year. Love to just have an opportunity to discuss or review any changes that you may or may not have had in your life, just to make sure that your insurance policies are covering what they should and nothing they shouldn't. And what I really was looking for, and what I think everybody should be considering this, is that, you know, as your life changes every day, every second, every minute of every day, your life is changing and things are happening. And it's easy to forget things such as insurance. It really is. And who would focus and put this as their front priority other than somebody who's doing this every single day? That's why we're here. But, you know, things to consider would be changes in your family size. You know, did you have a child? Did you have a child move out and move out on their own? That could impact. You know, the birth of a child is something that may prompt a life insurance discussion. A child moving out of the household may prompt a discussion about your auto policy and whether they should remain on your policy or not. They really shouldn't if they've moved out. Maybe they should go on their own. Maybe they're renting. They should have a renter's insurance policy. So those are things to think about. Did you go from single to married or married to single? Did somebody you know pass away, somebody who owned property, that maybe you should have a dialogue with and make sure that property is properly insured. You know, if people can pass away, their loved ones become the executors of their estate, and depending on any level of planning ahead, sometimes those properties are just in a situation where they need to still be in the name of the person who passed, but maybe not. Maybe it was in a life estate. So these are all important things to discuss. Did your address change? Remember, if you're a renter and you change your address, you have to change the address of your renter's insurance. Otherwise, there'll be limitations if you have a loss and have not done that. Have you acquired additional personal property? Have you brought on a new computer, a new smartphone, jewelry, collectibles, arts, things like that? Have you, in my case, and actually, Jeff, this is kind of funny. In my case, I had a computer that I really wanted to have specifically listed on my homeowner's insurance. That was years ago. I'm still insuring it. I don't need it anymore. You know, so that's another side of the coin. You know, are there things on there that you shouldn't be insuring? Maybe you sold off a piece of art that you had specifically listed or things of that nature. You know, when it comes to vehicles, and if you have an ATV, a snowmobile, a tractor, even if you're only using the tractor or the ATV or snowmobile on just your property, are you properly covered? Have you thought about your exposures or those things that you've added on that you should really be discussing?
You know, I want to jump in here if I can, Mike. I hate talking over the top of you, but one of them that, at least in my little pea-sized brain, is a no-brainer. There's a lot of folks that are working from home now that would normally have traveled, say, round trip, 10 miles, 25 miles, 75 miles, over 100 miles a day, and that will change their auto insurance also, won't it, if I remember right?
You're correct, yeah. With a lot of companies, in fact, almost all, you know, there's always going to be a rating factor of the use of the vehicle. So is the vehicle pleasure use? What do they mean by pleasure use? It's used to run errands and just run your personal day-to-day things. You're not driving to and from school. You're not driving to and from work. So for a long period, if you work for a business that's gone to offsite only, and you were traveling 14 miles one way, you were paying X amount for that rate. You could always look to see if you could go to pleasure use because you're no longer driving to and from work. If you were driving over 15 miles one way to work, many companies have a different higher rate for that. So that could certainly be something that, even if temporarily, you can change that. You can have that changed for while you are not driving back and forth to work. You, in essence, are paying for something that's not a proper representation of your risk at this point. So take advantage of it if you can.
Something we've been hearing not an awful lot about, Mike, but some folks are, well, they may have a spare room or they may have a house with another living unit in it. A lot of folks have decided they're going to try to make some money during this whole COVID thing and turn it into an Airbnb and stuff like that. These are changes also, right?
Yeah, they are, very much so. Many companies have a zero tolerance for those types of exposures in terms of you getting compensated for having somebody living in a room. Some companies will just count that as a two-family rate, and that's fairly simple as well. But, one thing to consider is once you start getting compensated for somebody to rent any portion, whether it be a small room or the whole house, that's a business expense. And remember, on a traditional homeowner policy, business is excluded. So if you have a loss and it's due to an exposure of business, i.e. a tenant somehow caused the loss to your property, you could be really exposed there and have an insurance claim get denied for not being properly rated. So that's definitely something to think about.
So folks, get in touch with your insurance agent. If you'd like to get in touch with Mike, here's your opportunity, Mike.
I can do that. You can give us a call, 748-5224. We are located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Office doors are still locked. We are still doing appointments, so feel free to reach out. We'll set something up. You can find us on our website and get a free home or auto quote, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All righty, my friend. You be safe out there. We'll chat with you again next week, okay?
Absolutely. Be well.
All right. Magic in the Morning with good policies. Barrett Insurance Agency, now with music from Prince.